I want to talk about that undecided because when we talked in October, I believe undecided was around 39%. Now it's at 31%. And when we talked about it last time, you said a lot of Democrats right now are sitting on the sidelines, seeing who's in the race and who's out. And there was this desire for different candidates. Based on that number not changing too much from 39% to 31%, does that indicate to you that people want different choices here?
You know, it's hard to say. I think that among Democrats, we still have about a third who are undecided. So that is a large number. And it could be that they want to see different candidates on the ballot. They also might just not be paying that much attention to the race yet. And like I said, Swalwell doesn't have very high name ID. So I think as his campaign ramps up, we will see him gobble up some of that Democratic vote share, most likely. Katie Porter, if she can rehab her image, then she might be able to boost some of her support. But right now, as it stands, Democrats don't seem to be blown away with any of the candidates on the ballot. If we look at independents, it's even higher. So 45% of independents are still undecided. So I think that there's also space there for both Democrats and Republicans to gain ballot share here. But I do think it is more so Democrats who are going to benefit from these undecided voters breaking. It's just a question of who they're going to break for and whether or not anyone else decides to enter this already crowded race.
Like you said, it's a really crowded race. There's a slew of Democrats. There are two Republicans. When you're looking at the demos of where people are going, are there any trends that are interesting to you?
Yeah, so we see that Katie Porter is actually still doing a little bit better with folks who are under the age of 50. Now, those voters are not always going to be the most dependable voters, and I think that if we saw another candidate who is a little bit more on that progressive side, then we could see her numbers decrease there, and some of those younger voters turn towards another candidate. Now, I'm not saying that that will happen, but that's certainly a possibility. Swalwell, on the other hand, does best among voters over the age of 50. And I think that that trend will probably continue unless, again, another more moderate candidate, more moderate Democrat enters the race. But I would want to see that. If I'm Swalwell, I want to do well among those older voters because those are the ones who are going to turn out. They are the highest propensity voters in most elections, and that's not an exception here in California. The Republicans, on the other hand, it's a little bit more muted. We see that they just sort of split the Republican vote share, but there's not much else to say beyond that. I think that they're going to maintain those Republican numbers, but going beyond sort of that 25 to 30%, that's going to be tough. And I don't see a scenario where it's going to be two Republicans in the general election in November.